Ho wiped the grease from his hands with a dirty cloth, but the black stains would not come off. He had been working for 18 hours straight on a diplomatic vessel. The ship's engine had failed during landing, and the ambassador had demanded it be fixed before morning. Now it was done, and Ho could barely keep his eyes open. He walked through the spaceport on Prime looking for food. His stomach made angry noises. He had not eaten since yesterday afternoon. The spaceport was huge and confusing, with hundreds of shops and restaurants on different levels. Ho was not from this world. He came from Nu, a human colony on the edge of space. He had been working here for only 3 months. Most of the food places were closed at this hour. The spaceport was quiet. Only a few travelers walked through the wide halls. Ho's legs felt heavy. His eyes burned from lack of sleep. He turned a corner and saw light coming from a restaurant ahead. The place looked expensive. Crystal lights hung from the ceiling. The tables were made of dark wood with gold edges. Ho hesitated at the entrance. He looked down at his dirty work clothes. His boots left marks on the clean floor, but he was so hungry that he did not care anymore. The restaurant was almost empty. Only one table in the far corner had food on it. Plates of colorful dishes sat waiting. Steam rose from a bowl of soup. Ho's mouth watered. He walked to the table and sat down. He thought it must be some kind of buffet setup. Maybe the restaurant was preparing for an early morning event. He grabbed a piece of bread and bit into it. It was the best bread he had ever tasted. Soft inside, crispy outside. He tried the soup next. Rich and warm, it spread heat through his tired body. He ate quickly, not really looking at what he was eating. Everything tasted wonderful. Ho did not notice the guards standing near the walls. He did not see the royal symbols on the napkins. He did not realize that this restaurant had been reserved for a very special guest. He just ate, his tired mind thinking only of food and sleep. The sound of doors opening made him look up. 2 figures entered the restaurant. One was a tall woman in military armor. She had sharp eyes and a serious face. The other sat in a floating chair that hovered silently above the ground. She was younger, with long black hair and a pale face. She wore simple but elegant clothes. They stopped when they saw Ho. The woman in armor moved fast. In seconds she had a weapon pointed at his head. "Do not move," she said in a cold voice. "How did you get in here? This area is restricted." Ho froze with bread still in his mouth. He slowly raised his hands. "I just wanted food," he said, his words unclear because of the bread. He swallowed quickly. "The door was open. I thought it was a normal restaurant." "This table was prepared for Princess Hana of the Empire," the armored woman said. "You are eating her food. You have committed a serious crime." Ho looked at the young woman in the floating chair. Princess? He had never seen a princess before. He did not know what one looked like. This woman did not look special to him. She looked tired and sad, like someone who had been sick for a long time. More guards rushed in. They surrounded Ho's table with weapons ready. The situation was getting worse by the second. "Wait," the princess said. Her voice was quiet but firm. Everyone stopped. Princess Hana moved her floating chair closer. She studied Ho with curious eyes. He was covered in grease and dirt. His hair was messy. His clothes were torn in several places. He looked like he had been fighting with an engine and losing. "You do not recognize me," she said. It was not a question. Ho shook his head honestly. "Should I? Are you famous or something?" The armored woman made an angry sound. "You dare speak to the princess like that? You should be on your knees begging for your life." But Hana raised her hand to silence her guard. A strange expression crossed her face. It took a moment for Ho to realize it was surprise, and something else. Interest, maybe. "You really do not know who I am," Hana said again. "You are not pretending." "I just arrived on this planet 3 months ago," Ho explained. "I am a mechanic. I fix ships. I do not follow politics or royal news. I am sorry I ate your food. I can pay for it. How much do I owe?" Hana stared at him. For 3 years, everyone had treated her with careful respect. They bowed. They spoke soft words. They looked at her with pity because of her condition. No one had ever just sat at her table and eaten her food like it was normal. "You will pay for it," she repeated. "Yes, I have some credits saved. The bread was very good, by the way, and the soup." Ho pointed at the dishes. "I did not try everything yet. Is that meat? It smells nice." The armored woman, Captain Somi, looked like she wanted to hit him. But Hana did something unexpected. She laughed. It was a small laugh at first. Then it grew. It was a real laugh, not the polite fake sound she made at official events. Her shoulders shook. Tears formed in her eyes. She laughed until she had to hold her stomach. Somi lowered her weapon in shock. She had served the princess for 5 years. She had not heard Hana laugh like this since before the accident. "You," Hana said when she could speak again, "are either very brave or very stupid." "Probably stupid," Ho admitted. "My mother always said I had no sense for danger. Can I finish eating? I am really very hungry. I have been working since yesterday." Hana waved her hand at the guards. "Leave us. Captain Somi, you may stay. Everyone else go." The guards looked confused, but they obeyed. Soon it was just the three of them in the large restaurant. "Sit," Hana told Ho. "Finish eating. I want to talk to you." Ho sat back down slowly. He was not sure if this was a trap, but his hunger was stronger than his fear. He picked up his spoon and continued eating the soup. Hana moved her chair to the other side of the table. She watched him eat with a strange expression. It was like she was seeing something new and interesting for the first time in a long time. "What is your name, mechanic?" she asked. "Ho." "Ho," she repeated. "Tell me about yourself. Where do you come from? What do you do? Why do you look like you lost a fight with a machine?" So Ho told her. He talked about his small town near the coast. He talked about learning to fix things from his father. He talked about the ship he had just repaired, about the broken engine parts and the stubborn ambassador. He spoke simply and honestly, like he was talking to anyone else. Hana listened. She asked questions. She seemed genuinely interested in the boring details of his work. No one had talked to her like this in years. No one treated her like a normal person. When Ho finished eating, he leaned back in his chair. "That was good food. Thank you for not killing me." "The night is still young," Hana said, but there was a small smile on her face. "You are a strange human, Ho." "I have been told that before." He looked at her floating chair with professional interest. "That is a nice machine. Technology." "Yes, the best available." Ho tilted his head. "The stabilization system sounds wrong. There is a small vibration. Can you not feel it?" Hana's smile faded. "I cannot feel much of anything below my waist. That is why I need this chair." The restaurant fell silent. Somi tensed, watching Ho carefully. Most people became uncomfortable when Hana mentioned her condition. They looked away. They changed the subject. But Ho just nodded. "I see. That must be difficult. How long have you been like this?" 3 years. "And the doctors cannot help." Hana's eyes hardened. "The best doctors in the Empire have tried. They say the damage is permanent. I will never walk again." Ho was quiet for a moment. Then he stood up and walked around to look at her chair more closely. Somi's hand went to her weapon, but Hana shook her head slightly. "The gyroscope is mounted in the wrong position," Ho said, pointing at a panel on the chair. "That is why you feel the vibration. Well, you would feel it if you could feel. It is a simple mistake. I can fix it in 5 minutes." Hana raised an eyebrow. "You think you know better than engineers." "About this, yes." Ho pulled out a small toolkit from his pocket. "May I?" Hana looked at Somi. The captain shrugged. What harm could it do? "Go ahead," Hana said. Ho worked quickly. His hands moved with confidence. He adjusted something inside the panel, tightened a few connections, and closed it again. The whole thing took less than 5 minutes. "Try it now," he said. Hana moved her chair forward, then back, then in a circle. Her eyes widened. The movement was smoother than it had ever been. The small vibration she had grown used to was gone completely. "How did you do that?" she asked. Ho shrugged. "I fix things, that is what I do." Hana stared at him for a long moment. Then she spoke words that would change both their lives. "Ho, report to the Imperial Medical Wing tomorrow morning. I have a job for you." "What kind of job?" "I want you to look at something else, something the doctors say cannot be fixed." She paused. "Me." Somi stepped forward. "Your Highness, that is not." "That is an order, Captain." Ho blinked. "Your Highness, wait, you really are a princess." Hana smiled, and this time there was something sharp in it. "Did you think my guards were joking?" "I thought maybe it was a nickname or something." Ho ran a hand through his messy hair. "I just ate a princess's dinner and complained about her chair." "Yes, you did." Hana turned her chair toward the door. "Tomorrow morning, do not be late, and maybe take a shower first." She left the restaurant with Somi following behind her. At the door, Hana paused and looked back. "Thank you for the laugh, mechanic. I had forgotten what it felt like." Then she was gone. Ho stood alone in the empty restaurant, surrounded by half-eaten dishes and the weight of what had just happened. He looked down at his greasy hands and dirty clothes. "What did I get myself into?" he whispered to no one. He had no idea that this strange night would change the future of the entire galaxy. Ho did not sleep well that night. He kept thinking about the princess and her floating chair. He kept thinking about the sadness in her eyes when she said she would never walk again. By morning, he had convinced himself that the whole thing was a dream. But then a message arrived on his communication device. It contained official imperial codes and directions to the medical wing of the palace. It was signed by Captain Somi. It was not a dream. Ho showered 3 times. He scrubbed his hands until they were raw, but some of the grease stains would not come off. They were part of his skin now, marks of his profession. He put on his cleanest clothes, which were still not very clean. He did not own fancy things. The palace was on the other side of the city. Ho took a transport vehicle and watched the buildings change as they moved through different districts. The poor areas near the spaceport slowly gave way to richer neighborhoods. The palace itself sat on a hill, surrounded by gardens and tall walls. It was the most beautiful building Ho had ever seen. Guards stopped him at the gate. They checked his identification many times. They scanned him for weapons. They asked him questions about his purpose. Ho answered honestly. He was a mechanic. The princess had asked him to come. No, he did not know why exactly. Finally, Captain Somi came to get him. She did not look happy to see him. "Follow me," she said coldly. "Do not touch anything. Do not speak unless spoken to. Do not look at anyone directly." "That sounds like a lot of rules," Ho said. "You are about to enter the Imperial Medical Wing. The princess is putting her trust in you. Do not make her regret it." They walked through long hallways filled with art and golden decorations. Servants moved silently past them. Everyone wore fine clothes and serious expressions. Ho felt very small and out of place. The medical wing was different from the rest of the palace. It looked more like a hospital, with white walls and bright lights. Doctors and nurses walked around carrying devices and data pads. Many of them were not human. The empire included hundreds of different species, and the best medical experts came from all of them. Several doctors stood near a large door talking in low voices. They stopped when they saw Ho. Their expressions turned to confusion, then anger. "What is this?" one of them demanded. He was tall with blue-gray skin and 4 eyes. "Who brought a maintenance worker into the medical wing?" "He is here by order of the princess," Somi said. "Impossible. We are the finest physicians in the empire. We do not need help from some grease-covered human." Ho looked at the doctor calmly. "I am not here to help you. I am here because the princess asked me to come. If you have a problem with that, take it up with her." The doctor's four eyes widened with shock. Before he could respond, the large door opened. Princess Hana floated out in her chair. "He is with me," she said simply. "Let him through." The doctors had no choice but to step aside. Ho followed Hana into a private room. The door closed behind them, leaving the angry physicians outside. The room was comfortable and well lit. Medical equipment lined the walls. A large screen displayed charts and images that Ho did not understand. Hana moved to the center of the room and turned to face him. "You came," she said. "You ordered me to come." Most people would have found an excuse not to. They would be too afraid. Ho shrugged. "I do not have much sense for fear. My mother always said it was a problem." Hana almost smiled. "Sit down, Ho. I want to show you something." She used the room's control system to display images on the large screen. They were medical scans of a spine. Even Ho, who knew nothing about medicine, could see that something was wrong. Part of the spine looked dark and broken. "3 years ago, someone tried to kill me," Hana said. Her voice was flat, like she was talking about the weather. "They used an energy weapon that damaged my spine. The doctors saved my life, but they could not repair the nerve damage. The signals from my brain cannot reach my legs anymore." Ho studied the images carefully. "The connection is broken." "Yes, the doctors have tried everything. Medicine, surgery, regeneration therapy, nothing works. They say the damage is too severe. The nerve pathways are dead." "And you want me to look at it? I am not a doctor. I fix engines, not people." Hana turned her chair to face him directly. "Last night, you fixed my chair in 5 minutes, a problem that engineers could not solve. You looked at it with different eyes and saw something they missed. That was just a machine." "And what is a body if not a machine? Bones are the frame, muscles are the motors, nerves are the wires that carry signals." Hana's eyes were intense. "I am not asking you to cure me, Ho. I am asking you to look at this problem like a mechanic. Tell me what you see." Ho was quiet for a long moment. Then he stood up and walked closer to the screen. He studied the images carefully, tilting his head this way and that. "The doctors focused on fixing the damaged parts," he said slowly. "They tried to repair the broken wires." "Yes. But what if you cannot repair the wires? What if they are too damaged?" "Then I stay in this chair forever." Ho shook his head. "No, if you cannot fix a wire, you replace it, or you build a new path around the damage." He pointed at the screen. "In human engineering, when a signal cannot travel through a broken connection, we build a bridge, a device that receives the signal before the break and transmits it after the break." Hana leaned forward. "A neural bridge." "I do not know what the medical term is, but humans have been doing this for years. I have seen it on colony worlds. Workers who damaged their spines in accidents, soldiers who were injured in combat. Some of them walk again because of these bridge devices." "Human technology," Hana said thoughtfully. "The doctors here would never consider it. They believe medicine is superior to anything humans have made." "Maybe it is. I do not know, but medicine has not helped you walk. What do you have to lose by trying something different?" Hana was silent. She looked at the images on the screen for a long time. When she spoke again, her voice was smaller. "Hope, I have hope to lose. I stopped hopping a long time ago because it hurt too much. Every time a new treatment failed, it felt like dying again." Ho walked over and crouched down next to her chair. He looked up at her face. "I understand," he said simply. "My father died in a mining accident when I was 15. The rescue team said there was hope for 3 days. Then they found his body. Those 3 days of hopping were the worst of my life." Hana looked down at him. "Then why are you suggesting I hope again?" "Because you asked me to look at your problem with mechanic's eyes, and a mechanic sees possibilities, not just problems." He stood up. "I cannot promise anything. I do not know if this will work, but I think it is worth trying." The door opened suddenly. A tall man entered the room, followed by several guards. He wore expensive robes and had a commanding presence. Ho did not need to be told who this was. The way everyone bowed, the way even the air seemed to change, told him everything. Emperor Sung had arrived. He was older than Ho expected, with gray hair and tired eyes. But there was strength in his face and power in his movements. He looked at his daughter first, then at Ho. "So this is the mechanic," he said. His voice was deep and cold. "Father," Hana said, I know what you were doing. The doctors told me everything. They are very upset." The Emperor walked closer to Ho. "You are suggesting that human technology can succeed where our best physicians have failed." Ho's heart was beating fast, but he kept his voice steady. "I am suggesting that it might be worth trying, Your Majesty. I am not saying it will definitely work. And if it does not work, if you give my daughter false hope and then fail, then I will have tried. That is better than doing nothing." The Emperor studied him for a long moment. His eyes were sharp and searching. Ho felt like the man was looking into his soul. "You are either very brave or very foolish," the Emperor finally said. "So I have been told." Something changed in the Emperor's expression. It was not quite a smile, but some of the coldness left his eyes. "Very well, I will allow this experiment, but know this, Ho." He stepped closer until he was right in front of Ho. "If you harm my daughter in any way, there will be no place in this galaxy where you can hide. Your entire species will feel my anger." Ho swallowed hard but did not look away. "I understand, Your Majesty." "Do you, I wonder?" The Emperor turned to his daughter. "Hana, you have always made your own choices. I did not agree with all of them, but I respected your intelligence. I will respect this choice too, but please be careful." "I will, Father." The Emperor left without another word. The room felt bigger somehow after he was gone. Hana let out a breath she had been holding. "That went better than I expected." "Really? Because I thought he was going to have me executed." "He would have if he thought you were lying or trying to use me, but he saw something in you." Hana tilted her head. "The same thing I saw last night." "What is that?" "Honesty. You do not know how to pretend. You say what you think even when it is dangerous." She smiled slightly. "It is refreshing. Everyone else speaks carefully around me, choosing words like they are picking flowers. You just talk. I never learned to be careful with words. Growing up, if something needed to be said, we said it." "I like that about you, Ho." Hana straightened in her chair. "Now let us begin. I want to know everything about these human neural bridges, how they work, who makes them, what we need to get started." Ho nodded. "For that, I will need to contact some people on New, and I will need something from you." "What?" "A better workshop. If we are going to try something new, I need space to work and tools to work with." Hana smiled. It was a real smile this time, with hope hidden behind it. "I think that can be arranged." For the first time in 3 years, Princess Hana began to believe that things might change. And it was all because of a tired mechanic who sat at the wrong table. Neither of them knew that someone in the palace was already planning to stop them. Someone who had worked very hard to make sure the princess stayed broken. Someone who saw her recovery as a threat to everything he had built. Lord N watched from the shadows, his mind already working on a plan. The mechanic would have to go, and if necessary, so would the princess herself. This time he would not fail. The next few weeks were the busiest of Ho's life. He contacted doctors and engineers on New. He studied medical files until his eyes hurt. He learned words he had never heard before and tried to understand systems more complex than any engine. The palace gave him a workshop near the medical wing. It was bigger than his entire apartment at the spaceport. Engineers and assistants were assigned to help him, though most of them looked at him with doubt. Who was this dirty mechanic who thought he could succeed where the greatest doctors had failed? Ho ignored their looks. He had work to do. Princess Hana visited his workshop every day. She asked questions about everything. She wanted to understand the science, the engineering, the possibility. For someone who had given up hope long ago, she was learning to hope again. It scared her, but she could not stop herself. "Tell me again how it works," she said one afternoon. Ho was bent over a table covered in small parts and wires. He had been building something, though Hana could not tell what. "The neural bridge is a small device," he explained without looking up. "It gets implanted near the damaged area of your spine. It has two parts. The upper part receives the signals from your brain. The lower part sends those signals to your legs. The bridge carries the message across the broken section. Like a translator. More like a relay station. You know how communication signals work in space. If a signal cannot reach its destination directly, it bounces off relay stations until it arrives. The neural bridge does the same thing with nerve signals." Hana watched his hands work. They were steady and confident, even when handling the tiniest pieces. "You make it sound simple." "The idea is simple. The execution is complicated." Ho finally looked up. "Your body might reject the implant. The signals might not sync properly. There could be pain or unexpected side effects. That is why I am building a custom version for you." "Custom?" "Every spine is different. Every injury is different. The human doctors on Nu said we need to design something specifically for your case." He gestured at the parts on his table. "I am working with their specifications, but I am also making modifications. Biology is not exactly the same as human biology." Hana moved her chair closer. "You are combining human technology with understanding." "I am trying to. It is not easy. The doctors do not want to share information with me. They think I am insulting their profession." "I will talk to them." "You already did. 3 times they smile and bow and then ignore everything you say." Ho rubbed his tired eyes. "I understand their pride. They have spent their whole lives studying medicine. Then some mechanic shows up and says he has a better idea. Of course they are upset." "Their feelings do not matter. My legs matter." "I know, but I need their cooperation. I cannot do this alone." The door to the workshop opened. Captain Somi entered, followed by a group of people Ho had never seen before. They were humans, dressed in professional medical clothing. An older woman led the group. She had kind eyes and gray hair tied back in a neat bun. "Dr. Young-suk," Hana said with surprise, "you came personally." The woman bowed respectfully. "When I heard what was being attempted here, I had to see it myself. I am the director of the Neural Recovery Center on Nu. I have performed over 200 bridge implant surgeries." Ho stood up quickly and bowed. "Doctor, it is an honor. I have been studying your research papers. Your work on signal mapping is incredible." Doctor smiled. "And you must be Ho, the mechanic who thinks bodies are machines." "I did not mean to offend anyone with that comparison." "No offense taken. In many ways, you are correct. The human body is the most complex machine ever created." She walked to his work table and examined the parts he had been assembling. "Interesting modifications. You added extra receivers for signal redundancy. In case some signals are weak or distorted, I did not want to rely on a single pathway." "Smart thinking. Most surgeons would not have considered that." She looked at Hana. "Your Highness, I believe this man might actually have a chance of helping you." For the next several days, Doctor and her team worked with Ho. The atmosphere in the workshop changed. The doctors could not dismiss a respected human specialist as easily as they dismissed a mechanic. Slowly, grudgingly, some of them began to cooperate. Hana watched everything with growing hope. She spent long hours in the workshop, learning and observing. She and Ho often talked late into the night, sharing stories about their lives. "Tell me about Nu," she asked one evening. Ho was checking the neural bridge for the 100th time. "It is a small world, mostly ocean with a few islands. My family lived near the coast. We could hear the waves from our house. It sounds peaceful. It was, until the mining companies arrived. They found valuable minerals under my father worked for them. Ho's voice became quieter. He died in an accident when I was 15. A tunnel collapsed. I am sorry. It was a long time ago. I learned to fix things because of him. He always said that broken things deserve a second chance, that nothing is truly beyond repair if you try hard enough. Hana was quiet for a moment. Do you believe that nothing is beyond repair? I believe that giving up should be the last option, not the first. I have seen too many things thrown away that could have been saved. Hana looked down at her useless legs. Some things are too broken. Maybe, but you are not a thing. You are a person, and people are stronger than they know. Before Hana could respond, the workshop door burst open. Captain Somi rushed in with her weapon drawn. Your Highness, we have a problem. There is an intruder in the medical wing. Everything happened fast. Guards poured into the workshop. Alarms began to sound throughout the palace. Somi moved to protect Hana while other soldiers searched the area. Ho saw movement in the shadows near the back of the workshop. A figure was hiding behind one of the large machines. Without thinking, he grabbed a heavy wrench from his table. There, he said, pointing. The guards converged on the location. A man in dark clothing tried to run, but Somi was faster. She tackled him to the ground and pinned him with practiced skill. Who sent you? She demanded. The man did not answer. He was carrying a small device that looked dangerous. One of the guards carefully took it from him. An explosive, the guard reported. Small but powerful, enough to destroy this workshop and everyone in it. Hana's face went pale. Someone tried to kill us. Ho's heart was beating hard. He looked at the captured man, then at the explosive, then at Hana. This was not random. Someone had specifically targeted this workshop. Someone wanted to stop what they were doing. More guards arrived. The intruder was taken away for questioning. Doctor and her team were escorted to safe rooms. The workshop was sealed and searched thoroughly. Hours later, Somi returned with a grim expression. She asked to speak with Hana privately, but the princess refused. Ho stays, she said. He has earned the right to know what is happening. Somi hesitated, then nodded. The intruder will not talk, but we found evidence on him. The explosive was military grade. It is not the kind of thing an outsider could obtain. You are saying someone inside the Empire sent him, Hana said. Someone with access to military supplies, someone powerful. Hana closed her eyes. When she opened them again, they were hard with anger. The assassination attempt 3 years ago. It was never solved. The official report said it was terrorists from outside the Empire. Your Highness, are you suggesting that the original attack was also an inside job? I am suggesting that whoever hurt me the first time does not want me to recover. They want me to stay broken, weak, out of the way. Ho felt cold. He had stumbled into something much bigger than a medical experiment. This was politics. This was power. This was dangerous. You should stop, he said suddenly. Both women looked at him. The procedure, the surgery, you should stop. It is too dangerous. Someone powerful wants you dead, and I am putting a target on your back. He shook his head. I am just a mechanic. I cannot protect you from this. Hana was quiet for a long moment. Then she moved her chair closer to him. Ho, 3 years ago someone took my legs from me. They took my future. They took my hope. I have been sitting in this chair waiting for nothing because I believed there was nothing left to wait for. Her voice grew stronger. Then you came along, a tired mechanic who sat at the wrong table. You gave me something I had lost. You gave me a reason to fight. But if you die, then I die fighting for something that is better than living for nothing. She reached out and took his hand. Do not give up on me now. We are too close. Ho looked at her hand holding his. It was small but strong. He thought about his father's words. Broken things deserve a second chance. Nothing is beyond repair. Okay, he said quietly, we continue. Somi watched them with mixed emotions. Part of her wanted to argue, to protect the princess by stopping this dangerous project. But another part of her saw something she had not seen in 3 years. Hana was alive again, not just breathing but truly alive. I will increase security, Somi said finally. No one enters this workshop without my approval, and Ho, you will have guards with you at all times. I do not need. That is not a request. You are too valuable to lose. Somi allowed herself a small smile. Besides, if anything happens to you, the princess will never forgive me. The days that followed were tense. Security around the workshop became extremely tight. Everyone was checked and double-checked. The surgery date was set for 1 week away. Emperor Sung called Ho to his private office. The mechanic stood nervously before the most powerful man in the empire. I have heard about the assassination attempt, the emperor said, and I have heard about your reaction. You wanted to stop the project to protect my daughter. Yes, your majesty. That was either very noble or very foolish. Probably both, your majesty. The emperor studied him. You have changed things in this palace, Ho. My daughter laughs now, she has hope, she fights. These are things I thought I would never see again. He paused. I was wrong to threaten you before. You are not here for money or power. You are here because you genuinely want to help. Ho did not know what to say. He just nodded. Complete the surgery, the emperor said. Save my daughter, and I will make sure whoever is behind these attacks faces justice. I will do my best, your majesty. That is all any of us can do. The emperor waved his hand in dismissal. Go, you have work to finish. Ho bowed and left. As he walked back to the workshop, he felt the weight of everything pressing down on him. So much depended on his success. A princess's future, a father's hope, maybe even the future of humanity's place in the empire. He was just a mechanic, but sometimes mechanics change the world. The night before the surgery, Hana could not sleep. She sat by her window, watching the stars, her mind full of fears and hopes. Tomorrow would change everything. Tomorrow she would either walk again or face another failure. A soft knock came at her door. She was surprised to see Ho standing there, looking as restless as she felt. I could not sleep either, he said. May I come in? She let him in. He looked around her room with curious eyes. It was large and elegant, filled with books and art, but it felt empty somehow, like a beautiful prison. You are scared, he said. It was not a question. Yes, there was no point in lying. I have been telling myself to be brave, but the truth is I am terrified. What if it does not work? What if I wake up and nothing has changed? Ho sat down on a chair across from her. Do you want me to tell you it will definitely work, that everything will be fine? No, I want you to tell me the truth. The truth is I do not know what will happen. Doctor and her team are excellent. The neural bridge is the best we could build, but bodies are unpredictable. Even the best surgery can fail. He leaned forward. What I can tell you is that we have done everything possible to give you the best chance. The rest is up to your body and maybe a little luck. Hana smiled weakly. That is strangely comforting. I am not good at comfortable lies. My face shows everything. I noticed that about you. She looked at him thoughtfully. You are strange, Ho. You have no respect for authority. You speak to emperors and princesses like they are normal people. You are covered in grease half the time, and yet you are the most honest person I have ever met. Is that a good thing? In the world I grew up in, everyone lies. They lie to get power. They lie to keep power. They lie because they are afraid. You do not lie. You do not know how. She paused. I think that is why I trust you. Ho looked uncomfortable with the praise. He changed the subject. Tell me something. 3 years ago, before the attack, what were you like? Hana was quiet for a moment. Different. I was involved in politics. I had plans to reform the empire to give humans and other species more equal rights. I was loud and confident and maybe a little arrogant. She touched the arm of her hover chair. After the attack, I lost more than my legs. I lost my voice. I stopped fighting. But you are fighting now. Because of you, because you looked at my problem and saw a solution instead of an impossibility. Her eyes met his. Whatever happens tomorrow, I want you to know that you already saved me. You reminded me who I used to be. They talked through the night. They shared stories about their families, their dreams, their regrets. By the time the sun rose, they knew each other better than many people who had known each other for years. It was time. The surgery room was bright and clean. Medical equipment lined the walls, a mix of human and technology. Doctor led the team, with specialists assisting. It had taken weeks to get them to cooperate fully, but the assassination attempt had changed things. Everyone understood now that powerful forces wanted the princess to fail. Working together was the only way to defeat them. Hana was prepared for the procedure. She lay on a specialized table that would give surgeons access to her spine. Somi stood nearby, refusing to leave even though she was not medical staff. Emperor Sung watched from an observation room above. His face was calm, but his hands were gripping the railing tightly. Ho was not allowed in the surgery room. He was not a doctor, but he was given a place in the observation room next to the emperor. It was strange to stand beside the most powerful man in the galaxy, both of them helpless to do anything but watch. "You care about her," the emperor said quietly. Ho did not pretend to misunderstand. "She is my friend, maybe the best friend I have ever had." She has not had many friends. Being a princess makes it difficult. People either want something from you or fear you. Genuine friendship is rare. She deserves better. Yes, she does. The emperor was silent for a moment. When she was young, she used to follow me everywhere. She wanted to learn everything about the empire, about leadership, about justice. She had so many ideas for making things better. After the attack, all of that disappeared. She became a ghost living in her own body. She is not a ghost anymore. No, thanks to you. The emperor turned to look at Ho directly. Whatever happens today, I am grateful. You gave my daughter back to me. Below them, the surgery began. Doctor made the first incision with steady hands. The procedure was delicate and dangerous. One wrong move could cause permanent damage. But the team worked together smoothly, human doctors and specialists combining their knowledge. The neural bridge was carefully implanted near the damaged section of Hana's spine. The device was small, barely bigger than a coin, but it contained technology that could change a life. Thin wires connected to nerve endings above and below the injury site. Hours passed. Ho watched every moment, his heart tight with worry. The emperor stood beside him like a statue, showing no emotion but clearly suffering inside. Finally, Doctor stepped back from the table. She looked up at the observation room and nodded. "The implant is in place," she said through the communication system. "Now we wait." Waiting was the hardest part. The neural bridge needed time to sync with Hana's nervous system. The signals had to learn new paths. It could take hours or days for any signs of success. Hana was moved to a recovery room. She remained unconscious from the surgery. Ho was allowed to sit with her now. He pulled a chair close to her bed and watched her breathe. "Come on," he whispered. "Show them what you are made of." Somi stood guard at the door. She had not slept in over 30 hours, but she refused to rest. The princess was vulnerable, and she would protect her until the end. Late that night, something happened. Hana's foot moved. It was a tiny movement, barely visible, a twitch of her toes, but Ho saw it. He jumped up and called for the doctors. They rushed in and performed tests. When the results came back, Doctor was smiling. "The signals are getting through," she announced. "The bridge is working. Her brain is communicating with her legs again." Hana woke up a few hours later. She was groggy and confused, but her first words were a question. "Did it work?" Ho took her hand. "Try to move your toe, the big one on your right foot." Hana concentrated. For a moment nothing happened. Then slowly her toe moved. It was a small movement, but it was real. Tears streamed down her face. "I can feel it. I can feel my toe." The room erupted in celebration. Doctor hugged her team. Somi wiped her eyes quickly, pretending she was not crying. Even the doctors looked impressed. Emperor Sung arrived minutes later. When Hana showed him she could move her toe, the stern ruler of a galaxy fell to his knees beside her bed and wept. "My daughter," he said through his tears, "my little girl." "Father, do not cry. You will make me cry more." "I do not care. Cry, laugh, feel. You are alive, truly alive." Ho stepped back to give the family privacy. He felt a hand on his shoulder. So-mi was standing beside him. "You did it," she said quietly. "You actually did it." "The doctors did it. I just helped." "Do not be modest. This happened because you refused to accept that it was impossible. You looked at the princess and saw a person worth saving." She paused. "I was wrong about you, Ho. I thought you were just a foolish mechanic who did not know his place, but you are much more than that." "I am still a foolish mechanic, just a lucky one." Recovery would take time. Hana could not walk yet. The neural bridge needed to strengthen and her muscles needed therapy. But she could feel her legs again. She could move her toes. Every day she made a little more progress. But their enemies had not given up. A week after the surgery, news arrived that shocked the entire palace. Lord N, a powerful noble who had been close to the imperial family, had called for a special session of the Imperial Council. He claimed to have evidence that humans had conducted dangerous experiments on the princess without proper authorization. He was accusing Ho and the human doctors of crimes against the empire. "This is madness," Hana said angrily when she heard the news. "He is lying." "He does not need to prove his lies," Somi replied grimly. "He only needs to create doubt. If the council believes that humans harmed you, it could damage relationships between the empire and all human colonies." Ho felt sick. He had never wanted to be involved in politics. He just wanted to fix things and help people. Now he was at the center of a galactic controversy. "I will speak at the council," Hana declared. Everyone looked at her in shock. "You are still recovering," doctor said. "Walking is too dangerous right now." "I did not say I would walk, but I will be there. I will face Lord N myself and tell the truth." Hana's eyes were blazing with the fire she had lost 3 years ago. "He tried to kill me once. He tried to kill me again. He will not win." Ho met her eyes. "Are you sure about this?" "Someone once told me that broken things deserve a second chance. I have my second chance. Now it is time to use it." The council session was in 3 days. 3 days to prepare for the biggest battle of Hana's life. This time, she would not be fighting alone. The Imperial Council chamber was the largest room Ho had ever seen. Hundreds of representatives from different species and worlds sat in curved rows that rose up toward the ceiling. At the center was a raised platform where speakers addressed the assembly. Everything was designed to intimidate. Lord N stood on that platform now, his voice filling the chamber. He was tall and elegant with silver hair and cold eyes. He spoke with confidence, as if he already knew he would win. "Fellow council members, what has happened to our beloved princess is a tragedy. She was injured 3 years ago by unknown enemies, and now, in her desperation, she has allowed humans to experiment on her with untested technology." He paused dramatically. "We do not know the long-term effects of this neural bridge. We do not know what damage it might cause. The humans rushed this procedure without proper oversight, putting our princess at risk for their own glory." Murmurs spread through the chamber. Many species in the empire still looked down on humans. They saw them as primitive, impulsive, and dangerous. N was playing to those fears. I demand that the human medical team be arrested and investigated." N continued. "I demand that all human experimental technology be banned from the Empire until proper safety reviews are completed. We cannot allow humans to use our citizens as test subjects for their crude science." Ho sat in the visitor section with Doctor and her team. Guards stood nearby, ready to arrest them if the council voted in N's favor. The situation looked bad. Emperor Sung sat on his throne above the council floor. His face was carefully neutral. As emperor, he could override the council, but doing so would cause political problems. He was waiting to see what would happen. N finished his speech and smiled with satisfaction. Several council members were already nodding in agreement. The vote would happen soon. Then the main doors of the chamber opened. Princess Hana entered, but not in her hover chair. She was walking. Her steps were slow and careful. She held onto Captain Somi's arm for support. Every movement clearly took enormous effort, but she was walking on her own two legs. The chamber fell completely silent. Hana made her way to the speaker's platform. It took several long minutes. Everyone watched, too shocked to speak. When she finally reached the platform, she let go of Somi's arm and stood alone. "Council members," she said. Her voice was quiet at first, but it grew stronger with every word. "3 years ago, I was attacked. An energy weapon destroyed my spine. I was told I would never walk again." She took a careful step forward. "The finest doctors tried to help me. They worked for months. They used the most advanced technology in the Empire, but they failed. Not because they were bad doctors, but because they were limited by their assumptions. They believed their way was the only way." Another step. "Then a human mechanic sat at my table by accident. He ate my food. He did not know who I was. He treated me like a normal person, not like a broken princess to be." Hana looked at Ho. "He looked at my hover chair and saw a machine that could be improved. He looked at my injury and saw a problem that could be solved." She turned back to the council. "Ho did not come to the Empire seeking glory or power. He came to fix ships. When he met me, he saw someone who needed help, and he helped. That is who humans are. They see problems and they want to fix them. They do not care about protocol or tradition or what is supposed to be impossible." Hana's voice grew harder. "Lord N speaks of danger and risk, but he does not tell you the real danger. He does not tell you that someone tried to bomb my medical team. He does not tell you that the weapon used 3 years ago to destroy my spine was military technology. He does not tell you that the assassination attempt was not the work of outside terrorists." N's face changed. "Your Highness, these are serious accusations." "They are the truth." Hana pulled out a small device and activated it. Images appeared in the air above the council. "This is evidence recovered from the man who tried to destroy my workshop. Communications, financial records, orders," she pointed at N, "all leading back to him." The chamber erupted in chaos. Council members shouted questions. Guards moved toward N. The noble tried to run, but there was nowhere to go. "I ordered the attack 3 years ago," Hana continued over the noise. "The council needs to know the truth. I had plans to reform the Empire, to give humans and other species equal rights. Lord N opposed these reforms. He feared losing his power and privilege, so he tried to remove me from the succession." "Lies," N screamed. "This is all human manipulation. They have corrupted the princess." Hana walked toward him. Each step was stronger than the last. Her eyes burned with fury. 3 years in the making. "You took my legs because you were afraid of what I might do. You made me doubt myself. You made me give up on my dreams." She stopped right in front of him. "But I am standing now. I am walking, and I will spend the rest of my life making sure everything you feared comes true." Emperor Sung stood from his throne. "Lord N, you are under arrest for treason and attempted murder. Take him away." Guards surrounded the former noble. He was dragged out of the chamber, still screaming denials. but no one was listening anymore. The emperor walked down from his throne to stand beside his daughter. For a moment, the stern ruler disappeared, and there was only a father looking at his child with pride. The council will recognize the human medical team for their exceptional service to the empire, he announced. Their technology and cooperation have given us a gift beyond measure. From this day forward, human medicine will be welcomed and respected throughout space. The chamber filled with applause. Doctor and her team were released and honored. Several council members came forward to offer congratulations and apologies for doubting them. Ho stayed in his seat, overwhelmed by everything that had happened. He was just a mechanic. He did not belong in a place like this, with emperors and councils and galactic politics. Hana found him later after the ceremony was over. She was back in her hover chair now. Walking had exhausted her and she needed to rest, but her face was glowing with happiness. "You were incredible," Ho said. "I was terrified. Every step felt like it might be my last," she laughed softly. "But it was worth it. Did you see his face when I walked in? I will remember that moment forever." "What happens now?" "Now I recover fully. Then I return to politics. There is much work to be done, reforms to push through, wrongs to make right." She tilted her head. "My father wants to make you a noble, give you land and titles. You would never have to work again." Ho shook his head. "I do not want that." "I told him you would say that, so what do you want?" "I want to go back to fixing ships. That is what I am good at. That is who I am." Hana smiled. "I understand, but will you at least stay for a while? There is still work to do on my recovery, and I have grown used to having you around." "I can stay for a while." 2 months later, Ho was back at the spaceport. He had returned to his job as a mechanic, fixing engines and solving problems that other people could not solve. He was happy. A shadow fell over his work. He looked up to see Hana standing there, not sitting, standing. She was using a cane now, but she could walk without help. "You disappeared without saying goodbye," she said. "I said goodbye. You were busy with council meetings." "I was busy because someone exposed a massive conspiracy and changed the political structure of the empire." She sat down on a crate next to his workbench. "The doctors say I will make a full recovery. In a few more months, I might not need the cane anymore." "That is good news." "It is, but I realize something is missing." She looked at him seriously. "I have my legs back. I have my voice back, but I do not have a friend to share it with." Ho stopped working. "You have many friends now. You are the most popular person in the empire." "I have admirers, supporters, people who want something from me. That is not the same as a friend." She reached out and took his grease-stained hand. "You never wanted anything from me. You just saw a problem and tried to fix it. That makes you the truest friend I have ever had." "I do not know how to be a noble or a politician." "I am not asking you to be either of those things. I am asking you to teach me." "Teach you what?" Hana smiled. "How to fix things. I spent my whole life learning to talk and negotiate and lead, but I never learned to build anything with my hands." She gestured at the engine parts on his workbench. "Show me how it works. Show me how to create instead of just command." Ho looked at her for a long moment. Then he picked up a wrench and handed it to her. "This is a wrench," he said. "It turns things. That is the first lesson." Hana laughed. "I know what a wrench is." "Good, then you are already ahead of most beginners." They worked together that day and many days after. The princess and the mechanic, building something new. She learned to take apart engines and put them back together. He learned that some things are more important than staying in your comfort zone. News spread through the empire about their unusual friendship. Some people thought it was strange. A princess covered in grease, learning to fix machines. But most people saw it for what it was. Proof that connections could form between anyone. That people were not limited by their birth or status. A year later, Hana walked without any support. She had become a powerful voice for reform in the Empire. Human technology was being integrated throughout space. Relations between species had never been better. And whenever she had a difficult problem to solve, she would visit a small workshop at the spaceport. There, a mechanic with grease-stained hands would offer her a wrench and a place to think. "You know," Hana said one evening, "if you had not sat at that table by accident, none of this would have happened." Ho shrugged. "I was hungry, it was luck." "Maybe, or maybe the universe knew what we needed and put us together," she smiled. "Either way, I am grateful for the mistake." "So am I." They sat together in comfortable silence, watching ships take off into the stars. The princess who learned to walk again and the mechanic who fixed the impossible. Two people who found each other by accident and changed everything. Sometimes the biggest changes start with the smallest moments. A wrong turn, a wrong table, a hungry mechanic who did not know when to be afraid. And sometimes that is exactly enough.